and welcome, disc golf friends, to Parsey's production of the 2018 Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. This is a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, number 8 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour here in 2018. This is the second round, back 9, hole 10, par 3, 450 feet. I am Nate Doss, and with me I have Mitch Privette. Thanks for being here, Mitch.
Yeah, thank you. Very honored.
Awesome. Yeah, so we've seen the front 9 already. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. But we are here on the back 9 now with Paul McBeth, Kyle Webster, Nikko Locastro, and Eric Downing. This is hole 10. This is a new hole actually from last year, and we've seen the players take different routes. We've seen backhands and air shots and rollers.
That roller looks awesome.
It does. Wow, good for Nikko. He didn't throw a good roller there yesterday, but he straightened that out. So we saw 1 roller and 3 air shots. We do have OB on the left side. Eric's heading towards that OB, but ends up just short of it. It's always nice for the tournament to make some adjustments, add a few new holes each year. It does keep the players guessing and keeps the fans sort of into it as well.
Yeah, this is a new hole for me to actually see, and I remember the old hole, and this one actually probably plays a little bit better for flow.
I agree with you on that. They actually removed another hole that was a shorter hole. That was just sort of a strange hole. We did just see Paul McBeth miss his birdie putt, but we saw Nikko Locastro cash in on his great roller for his birdie. Kyle Webster with an awesome air shot, and let's see if he can cash this one in.
Oh, there he goes.
Just barely. Sometimes the baskets are our friends. Sometimes
little sigh of a relief from Kyle there.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that Paul McBeth's putt looked better in the air, but didn't end up, and Kyle's did stay in. That's the name of the game. We'll head over to hole 11. Here we are, hole 11, par 3, 300 feet. And Mitch, I have to say that I probably misspoke back there in the front 9. This is a gimme hole for these players as well. Although there is OB around it, 300 feet, nothing in the way. If there's no wind, we should see these guys get a star frame on this one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, like I said, another new hole that I've seen, but it's definitely one of those ones that you want to get. A lot of these players look like they're throwing a sidearm at it. Nice hyzer over the OB, come in.
Yeah, the course designer Nate Heinold, as well as TD, sort of did a tricky thing here by putting that little tree there right where the backhand. And we just saw Eric hit the basket there. Paul for his birdie.
Yeah, beautiful putt by Paul there.
Yeah, nice putt. He's been a little bit up and down this round, and probably ultimately all for the tournament. We can see it on his face, but yeah, a star frame should be a for sure thing here. But yeah, I think it's interesting that the course designer did sort of somewhat force. Of course, the players could still throw a backhand, but they did force a sidearm, and all of our players these days are great on both sides seemingly, so they made it look easy.
Yeah, correct.
Star frame there on hole 11.
Some swirly vultures.
That's right, folks. Discraft is back. Well, they didn't go anywhere, but they're back, I guess. Here we are. Hole 12, par 3, 354 feet. The water tower hole. Mitch, what do you think about this one?
It's actually from the tee pad itself, it's very deceiving. you definitely want to get up there if you're going to go for it. Go for 100% because hitting really close to that water tower is going to leave you with minimum upshots or putts. So as you see Nikko going for it all the way and reward himself with a nice park job.
Yeah, clearly Nikko Locastro is locked in here on round 2. He does not think that the tournament is over at all. Paul McBeth skipping right next to the basket and going out of bounds. That is, boy, we don't see a lot of that on this hole. Again, the players are, Paul didn't see any of that. So he's probably wondering what happened there. He will have to proceed to the drop zone. Let's see. We didn't see if that was in bounds or out of bounds. But here we are at the drop zone. This is no easy shot either, as we can see Kyle going out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's when you say, Mitch, it's one of those things when something like this happens, the players are frustrated, but you got to stick with it and just try to move on.
Yep. That's the hardest thing in disc golf, though, is just, letting that last throw go and trying to recoup from it, come back with a nice putt there. Unfortunately, he doesn't, that's not Paul McBeth's play, but he needed to make that one, so.
Yeah, definitely. Paulie, obviously you win 4 world championships in a row. You know how to deal with adversity, and he dealt with that one just fine. And he'll be looking to stay hot on these back holes, these back 6 holes or so that we have left. And there we go for Eric, par. Do want to mention Parsay's production. Look at what the players are doing. There's quite a few lines on that one, especially there for Kyle, but we do think they did a great job with that. Here we are, hole 13, the par 5, 1,170 feet. We want to thank Airborne Disc Golf for their use of the drone. Thank you to Kale LaVisca and all of his friends up in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. We love you guys. But this hole is a difficult hole. That pin we're seeing is actually not the pin. Where that guy is walking is back towards the pin we're going to throw to today. There are 2 pins. We will see pins on rounds 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 be different. But yeah, give us an idea of what this shot is like, Mitch. What are these players trying to do? Is this to me,
honestly,
yeah.
It's definitely, a placement shot off the tee. The most aggressive safe zone is right where Paul is landing. You want to be, close to the water, but so you can have an upshot going across the water for highs that are going up. So safe zone is pretty much right where Kyle just threw it right there, which is a great drive,
Yeah, we see a little bit of a headwind breeze there. I think you stated that perfectly. I played this hole many times, as have you. And the further you are to the right, although there's more risk involved, it gives you that option to play down the right side the entire way, which is what these players want to do. There's no trees. There's nothing in the way. Paul is a little bit tight, but he still can get a full rip there as he did. It's one of those things that we saw Garrett Gerthy yesterday get caught up on the left side and have to play somewhat down the left side, and it was just not as effective for him. So this right side is better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more wide open. Yes, the water comes into play and everything, but I don't think that should come into these players' heads too much, as the basket has moved up the fairway a little bit more than the other basket was. So.
Yeah, definitely. It's about 50 or 60 feet difference between the pin from yesterday and the pin from today. And we actually saw, I have to mention this, that, while Nikko had a great drive and he was insanely aggressive on his second shot, we can see what happens when they get too aggressive on their second shots.
Yeah,
if you get too close to those trees, you have no shot. And Nikko ended up going out of bounds on his second shot. So, I'm a little bit curious here because I remember, playing this hole and I knew that second shot needed to be more in the open.
Yeah.
Completely blind shot here for Paul. He just had to get an eye on it, and boy, he didn't. Yeah, he made it seem like it wasn't blind that shot.
Wow, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That was about a 300-foot shot. Looked like he threw a mid-range there. There's Kyle. Ooh, hitting a branch. Going to leave himself a little bit of a putt, but makeable. Eric, left-handed putter, right-handed driver. And there we
Nikko,
go.
famous Nikko jumper though. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to
look
get
at
a
him.
couple of those around, you know.
Yep. Intense as always. And this is actually a good sign for Nikko Locastro, who's 6 under for this round, 6 under for the tournament. He just needed that. That would have been a really
Yeah.
horrible mistake. And he, you know, um, I would not be surprised to see quite a few more birdies from him for the rest of the round.
Yeah, he's having a stellar round, and hopefully we get to see him finish strong, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here we are, hole 14, par 4, 805 feet. Mitch, this is one of my favorite holes on the course. This was new to last year. I just really like how it requires a very technical first shot and then a long second shot.
Yeah, this is a very interesting hole. Actually, my first time seeing it, because I haven't played the Ledgestone in a while, 2 or 3 years now. Actually, 2 years. But this looks like a very interesting hole. Absolutely like the changes that he's done for the players and everything. So.
Yeah, Mitch, you'll see these players. We saw Nikko go out of bounds left yesterday. There is an OB line to the left. Of course, Lake Eureka on the right. But it's one of those types of holes where if you can put yourself in good position off the tee, you can be aggressive on the next hole. And unfortunately, Kyle was too aggressive and ended up in the lake there. But it is a new hole as of last year, so Mitch, yeah, you wouldn't have seen it, but I just think it challenges the players on a whole lot of levels, and I really like to see that from course design. Getting a beautiful look at what that second shot entails. Eric is heading towards that left OB line, but is well short of it, and will have probably an easy upshot for a par. 4-time world champion Paul McBeth throwing the big hyzer and ending up short. So we can see that if you're short off the tee, Mitch, that it's a long second shot.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like a 300 to 400 foot big hyzer going across, coming up. But if you do get off that tee a little early, it looks like a pretty hard upshot for him. So.
Yeah, Eric making that upshot look a little bit more difficult than it is, and leaving himself outside the circle from just outside circle 2. Oh, and airballing it over the top. He's making a little bit of a mess of this. Let's see what Paulie can do for us. Boy, if it was a basket hitting contest, Paul would be leading. Nikko Locastro. Nikko Locastro making that putt there. Good for Nikko. We didn't see Nikko's second shot. We must have missed that, but birdie nonetheless.
And he stays hot, you know.
Yeah, he does, and he's really making himself into a factor in this tournament. He has to stick with it, finish strong, but ultimately, I do like what we're seeing out of Nikko Locastro here in this second round. We'll see here on the scores. Nikko is 7 under through 14 holes, so good for Nikko. But we'll head over to the 15th hole after some sponsor messages.
All right, guys, hole 15, par 3, 315 feet. Got a little bit of elevation on this hole. There's a big tree that you want to go around, but another one that you kind of want to get, but it's a little bit farther than it looks, you know.
Yeah, Mitch, I think you make a great point. It is one of those sort of confusing holes And
Yeah.
I do apologize. I asked you to do this one, and you probably haven't even seen this hole in person, but I think
I
you did a
haven't.
great job. Yeah, I think you did a great job. There is a mandatory on that big tree.
It is a mandatory. Okay, I saw the red there on the tree, and I thought it was a mandatory, but didn't want to speak too soon, you know.
Yeah, no, good observation there. But that's why we're seeing these players not throw the hyzer. I think, again, a course design thing here, forcing these players to take a shot that they might not be so comfortable with. But Paul McBeth throwing that sidearm, making it look easy. That was a
Yeah.
beautiful shot there. Um, but Eric Mitch, I think you do make a good point. These players want to get this hole, and I remember birdieing this a couple of times and parring it a couple of times, and it is. Oh, as we see, Eric
Wow, Eric, lefty putt.
lefty putt, yeah, righty back here,
Attaboy.
righty tee shot, lefty putt. Good for Eric. We
Yeah.
got the slow mo, boom, no question about it. Good job for Eric.
Yeah, good job. There we go, Nico.
Yeah,
Staying
Nico
hot.
sticking with
Jeez.
his hot play. He's locked in. Maybe we'll see him birdie out. We have no idea. But good putt for Kyle there for par. Paul McBeth with the tap in. Birdie.
There he goes.
Almost a star frame there on hole 15. We don't blame Kyle. We still
No,
love him.
not at all. Yeah, Kyle's a great guy. He'll
Here we are.
understand if we give him some.
Yeah. Here we are on hole 16, par 4, 606 feet. This is actually an eagleable hole. If the players did throw a perfect roller, they could get down near the basket. But for the most part, this is a gettable par 4. We will see a combination of rollers and backhands off the tee, some sidearms if the players choose. But here we see the big roller from Nico.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a easy hole because none of these holes, of course, out at Lake Eureka are easy. But this is one of the easier of the par fours. You know.
Well said, well said. And actually, Paul McBeth just made this par 4 much more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for the fans at home, that wasn't a. Of course, we're going to consider it a missed shot for a player of Paul McBeth's caliber, but this is tighter than it looks.
Hmm.
And we have OB on the left side here that Eric is falling away towards and has gone over, and that's one of the reasons that we do see the roller or the sidearm. I
Yeah.
do have to mention just quickly that we're seeing the players tee off of the right side of the tee pad. After the first round, the tournament staff did decide to allow the players to use natural tee pads. I guess some of the players were complaining of slick tees. Mitch, these are brand new tee pads, and sometimes brand new tee pads can be slick.
Oh man, any moisture or anything like that, even dust. I mean, any of that stuff. You know, you can really hurt yourself or it and get that in your head of hurting yourself or something like that. So giving them the option to go to the side was very very nice and very the smart play to do. So
I agree, and we just saw Paul McBeth throwing out of those bushes on the right. Now we're seeing Kyle throw out of those bushes on the right. Those are a hazard. They're not those guys are in bounds, but if you get in there, it's super thick and super tight. But I do want to say that the staff for choosing to allow these players to use natural tees was a good thing, and we can
yeah,
see that Nico's big drive off the tee has paid off, and you can see his disc there to the right of the basket. He's going to have an opportunity for yet another birdie
yeah,
here. I think we've had about 4 or 5 in a row. Well, no, we had the big par putt, but
yeah. The big part, but I mean, before that he had a couple in a row there too. So
yep, Paul McBeth missing his long putt for par. That was for par, not for birdie.
oh,
Oh, Eric, good shot.
he's been a little high all day with them putts.
Yeah, I think that left hand's a little bit too strong, but I think overall Eric in this position has handled himself well. He seemed to have a fairly cool head from what we've seen. So
Absolutely, yeah.
good on Eric there. We'll see Nico come into the picture here, mark his disc, line up for his patented straddle putt. Hard on that left leg and right into the middle. -9 for Nikko Locastro now.
Let's go, Nikko.
Yep, Nikko making a run here. We will hear from Parsaves Productions after this, and then we'll head over to the 17th hole.
All right, guys, par 3, 300 feet, right over the water. A little bit of OB on the backside there, so most of these players probably just going to be just throwing a mid-range putter coming in.
Nikko coming in wide, and wow.
Wow. I mean, when it's your day there, huh?
Perfectly said, Mitch. That was incredible. His drive was a little wide, a little low, but it doesn't matter. When it is your day, it is your day, and it must be Nikko Locastro's day.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That had to have been inches.
Inches, yeah. These guys are putting on a show, and Mitch, we will see the sidearm on this hole. The wind typically is a crosswind from left to right. And so we see Paul put his disc in the island. This is an island hole for those fans back home wondering. If they do miss the island, they head to about 100-foot drop zone. But a clinching hole nonetheless. Is he going to get the skip off the thing? Oh. Inbound.
Pretty close. It did look like it, too.
So from a backhand to a left hand. Eric does not complete the birdie. Here comes Paul sliding in there, ready to go. I think Paul's ready to get off the course today. He would have loved to have been at that score that Nikko was at, but Paul's still a great champion nonetheless, looking good in his blue shirt there. And he'll move on and look to do something special on the weekend. That's okay, Eric. Don't worry about it. You got many more tournaments left in you, buddy. And many more holes in this tournament, in fact. Kyle
solid showing, though, from Eric, though,
Yeah.
He really kept his composure together throughout the whole round. Even though, he was putting a little high, but he was still hitting basket the whole time, so.
He did, and it doesn't seem like he ever quit. Kyle with his birdie, and Nikko Locastro with the drop-in birdie after skipping off the dock. That's disc golf for you, folks. Let's head over to the final hole. A little fist pump from his playing competitor, Kyle. There we are. We see double digits, Nikko Locastro. The 18th hole is not the easiest hole. And here we are. We're looking at it from a drone's view. If you could only throw your disc like a drone, it would be much easier. But par 4, 711 feet. Multiple options off the tee, multiple options on the second. OB, Lake, Eureka on the left, OB on the right. The OB on the right's not really too much of a factor until you get to the basket. But we'll see what Nikko has for us here. Going with the roller. Let's just let this thing do what it's got to do. And whoa, he is making
what? Oh my gosh. Wow.
Incredible.
Goes through the truck tires.
I don't have much of anything to explain on that one, but boy, that was just, I think, Mitch, while Kyle throws his backhand shot, we'll see the other competitors throw their shot. I have to mention how sometimes when disc golfers play, we see that it is their day. We've seen Nikko Locastro come within inches of being OB on multiple holes in the front nine, skipping off of the dock for a birdie on 17. It's just been his day, and hopefully he can continue that play and potentially become a factor in this tournament come towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, with all this lucky shots and being his day and everything, he's still got to convert on a lot of putts and stuff, and that's what he's doing. He's just taking advantage of all these lucky breaks and good breaks that he's getting. So, good on him. Good on him.
Yeah. I mean, when you have the best players in the world getting good breaks and still being able to do what they do, that's when we get to see these great scores. And maybe we'll see Nikko with an 11 under, depending on what he can do. Paul McBeth did go OB, and I think he'll save his par there. I feel pretty confident.
Great recovery. Yeah, really great recovery.
And we can see, I want the fans at home, and I'm sure everybody's been watching all the coverage from all the great media outlets here at the 2018 Ledgestone. But hole 18 is a challenge. There's just so many ways of playing it. And let's see what Nikko. He's got some air under this one. But
he left a little meat on that bone, but
stays in bounds, so that's okay.
Yep, absolutely.
I do want to take this time to thank each and every one of the people watching this coverage. This is the second round, back nine coverage from Par Save Productions. I'm Nate Doss. We have Mitch Privette also with me. And we do want to thank all the sponsors, all the players, and all the people who make disc golf what we all love to do and watch and enjoy. So we just see these guys finishing up. Nikko Locastro, 10 under par. What's your final thoughts here, Mitch? What'd you think of this second round real quickly?
Honestly, I thought it was good. Seeing Nikko go through it, seeing Paul, unfortunate breaks, but still fighting through it. And then seeing the newcomer, Eric, it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's always great to watch Paul McBeth play, and I think Nikko really showed that he is in it to win it still. Fist pump from Paul. Thanks again for everybody for watching. We'll see you on the third round.